Hey, everybody, okay? Now, I want to start talking about manifestation, and I'm going to talk about a particular system I use where I have, is it Joaquim or Joachim, or how am I supposed to say your name? Joaquim? Hi, hey, let's continue chatting in DM. New York, nice. I used to live there when I was a kid. It's a gorgeous, beautiful place, right? So I want to talk about manifesting, and the thing is, we're constantly manifesting. And the way, what I'm talking about and the way that this works, and also the way even my business coach works, this is when we start to understand that our body is an alchemical chamber and that we're constantly manifesting around us. What we can realize is how are we manifesting what we think we don't want or what we want, right? So I want to talk specifically right now about manifesting financial abundance. Obviously there is, we can manifest love, we can manifest many things, but I'm looking here specifically at financial abundance. And I mean, there's big taboos around a lot of things. It's all to do with us feeling nice, right? There's big taboo around love, right? Now that everyone's talking about sex, people are going, oh, the love thing, like if you're in love with someone, you might be called codependent and needy and all these different names, whereas in the old days it was just you're in love, right? Okay. So never mind the love. I mean, I've manifested some crazy things. One time I manifested this guy I was absolutely in love with, to get together with someone who was my complete entire nemesis, which I'm sure is because of it was showing me my insecurities and fears and so on and so forth. Anyways, right, it's funny story, but I know it's gorgeous sunshine here, right? Okay, so I'm really curious, right, who has experience with manifestation? Because I'm not talking here about manifesting a fiver or 50 quid or a ton or whatever you want to say, right? I'm talking about manifesting like thousands, grands, tens of grands, right? And how do we do this? Now, when we look at like what is our relationship with money, okay, and we look at how do you view money, right? Do you hold money tightly in your hand, scared she's gonna, run away and never come back? Listen, this is something I have totally struggled with, because not just did I get brought up in poverty and have my parents teach me some very bad, mindset around money. When I ended up on my own as a teenager, I literally experienced poverty and, homelessness, going hungry, so on and so forth, and the effect of this kind of thing on me is only actually started coming back later on in life, when I really started like manifesting my own business, started coming up these fears, right? And so many people I speak to, they're like afraid of, taking a big step in their life, but money is nothing if you're not using it. It's meaningless if you don't use it. Money is a tool, just like a hammer, but how are you using the hammer? Are you building or are you destroying with it? Now, I mean, one thing that I just find really crazy, and I'm sorry if people don't like what I'm saying, but there seems to be this insane amount of money being spent by women on aesthetic procedures, right? Thousands on these alterations to their bodies. I don't know. I mean, I've given birth. I thought my body was fine after I gave birth, but I also realized that, 6 weeks after, because a lot of them are going for these operations like 6 weeks after giving birth, which cost thousands and thousands. Your body hasn't even healed properly, but also just to suddenly go and spend all that money. And some people even have become quite unwell after these operations, But I guess my point is, we spend so much money on stuff that's not particularly good for us. Even things like going out for dinner. Yeah, okay, it's nice to enjoy going out for dinner sometimes if you have enough money to spend on the other things that you want. But when we're kind of draining and hemorrhaging money out in ways when we're hemorrhaging money out in ways that aren't particularly helpful, but then not being able to get and not being able to even, I think, connect into our vision and desire and purpose of what we really want money for. And what I'm talking here about specifically is self-development, right? And creating our own businesses, which is, I believe, also a part of self-development. I'm very big into creating our own businesses, in creating activating the vision, so we can see, where we're going. And Eddie, you've written there, money only solves money problems. And this is, I believe, a toxic belief around money, right? People say, oh, money won't buy happiness. Poverty certainly will not buy happiness either. Okay? If we don't honor and we don't respect money, how can we respect money? How can we expect money to come back to us? Listen, if you have a girlfriend and you're like, oh, you're just a slut, you're not good for anything except me to come inside, right? How are you going to expect that girlfriend to keep coming back to you unless she's got pretty low self-esteem, right? Or what about if every time she wants to go out the house, you're freaking, you're panicking, you're like, no, you're not going to come back, don't leave me, right? I mean, no self-respecting woman is going to hang around when you're behaving like that, or man, or whatever, but yet we behave like this with money, and we think it's just okay. And we don't have a vision, and this is poverty mindset. Like my business coach, he says, if you put 3 people in a room, and one is he says working class mindset, a middle class mindset, and an upper class mindset, upper class people and people with that kind of a mindset have a completely different way of doing things, looking at things, acting, being, than people with a working class mindset, who tend to be like hoard, keep it all in, maybe spend it on some pints just to alleviate the stress, but don't, for God's sake, put it into anything that's going to really be transformative and change my life, Now, the first step, and if you're at the point where you're just kind of freaking out about putting a few £1,000 into whatever, yourself, okay, but I'm not talking about getting a boob job or something like that, but into something that's actually really for yourself, that you're going to benefit from, probably this isn't for you. It's a bit like what I'm talking about now is kind of the equivalent of if you're wanting to do dual cultivation, so cultivate sexual energy with another person, but you're a woman and you're too freaked out even to open your mouth and speak to a man. There's no point thinking about having sex with him, right, until you got to the point where you're actually able to talk, which is the first step, So I definitely say, if this is you and you're just feeling, if you think about putting a few hundred or a few thousand into some kind of a, self-development or something, and that idea is kind of freaking you out, you're running away from it, I think the first thing you want to do is start really thinking, start thinking about, what is your relationship with money, and maybe start journaling and thinking about it. Because the thing is, sure, look, if you want to look at this in a completely mundane way, that's the mundane way to look at it, then manifestation does not exist. But if you want to look from the perspective of manifestation, okay, all the money you need for everything you want is sitting all around you. It's just waiting for you to be in the right place to call it in. Okay, I mean, and when you do it, and I think the most powerful lesson for me came, now bear in mind, guys, I'm working with my body as an alchemical chamber. I've been doing this for years. I'm always cleaning my energy, making sure that the 3 chambers are working properly, that the energy is moving up, that I'm also bringing in the sexual energy, which amplifies anything that's going on there, good or bad, right? Okay, but even I've had clients within a few weeks of working with me finding that, hobbies they had, for example, take off, and they start making a lot of money just, when they start just doing these small amounts of work on themselves, and I think part of it connects in, once we deal with our anxieties and our fears and so on and so forth, we're much more in a position to actually go, yeah, this is what I want, this is how I'm going to create not just money for myself, but money creating this soul-aligned business that's really my vision and my destiny of what I need to create in the world. And there's so few people out there who are creating these soul-aligned businesses and creating what's their heart and soul's purpose to create. And I think this is so much of the problems within the world, that we are not activated to our destiny, we're not activated to our path, and we're not doing this, Anyways, to get back, I'm just going to give a couple of examples of how I've manifested money. And like I said, I'm always working with my energy fields, with my organs, with my centers, with my chakras, with everything, on every level in my life, to create a balanced energy field and life around me. But I remember one time, and when we talk about manifestation, we say the emotion we put into it is so important, So if we go now, I remember there was this business coach, and I really wanted to do her program, and it is $15,000, and I did not even have like $3,000. I didn't have 5,000. I can say I did not have 5,000 at that point. Probably didn't even have 2,000 or 3,000. But I was like, I want this, and I'm going to go and get it, and I'm going to go and get the money. Now, I've always been a bit of this person that I'm like, I want this, and I'm going to go and get this, right? Okay. But I remember within a couple of days that 5,000 was in my account for the first payment. And I made the first payment, not being 100% if I would, be able to pay the next month or the next month, but also having the faith both in myself and in her and in the universe, and the fact that the universe was watching me, and it was my destiny to go and work with this woman. And sure enough, I can guarantee you the money was coming in my account. I was not going without. I was managing to still pay my rent and everything else I needed to, And even just recently, honestly, this is a crazy story. I'm just going to tell you, there was something I wanted to invest in. I put like £2,000 I think into it, or $2,000, I can't remember, but around that amount, yeah. And I think within a week, yeah, I got like around 10,000 back, yeah. It's kind of crazy, right? I know this sounds kind of crazy, yeah, but it's not just about going, I want this to come to me, because when we've got all these beliefs within ourselves that are saying, no, if you put that money in, you're going to starve, you're going to this, you're going to that, if you invest in yourself, it's not a good thing to do, you're not going to manage, you're not going to manage to manifest in that way, like I mentioned earlier about how there was this one guy, I wanted him on a certain level, but on another level, I was all full of this fear and panic and paranoia and so on, which manifested, him going off with my nemesis, which I managed to see the whole amusing, funny side of it, that he was just so opposite of me. And I'm like, oh yeah, you manifested that one, Jade, But anyways, yeah, so coming back to this money manifestation thing, I would say, yeah, the working on yourself, the clearing out your energy field thing, it's massive, right? Yeah, it's funny anyway, isn't it? Yeah, you got to just laugh, yeah. And the thing is, we take things so seriously. We think, oh my God, if I'm going to, spend a bit on this and that. And I'm not saying don't keep track of how much money you've got, and don't be responsible to some extent. Do you know what I mean? Don't go out and spend all your money on like a Gucci handbag or something like that, necessarily. But when it comes to something that you need for your soul purpose, the money is there, and it's around you, and not just there, but more than that. And when you can actually have faith within yourself and faith within the universe, and I would say that doing, I'm really into doing coaching programs myself. I think you get like so much out of them, even for example, like when you work with, like, for example, a business coach, but hopefully you find one who's like soul aligned and also working with spiritual principles and so on, which is what the person I'm working with, and I just find it's so magical what happens, But guys, I'm really interested to hear, what are you thinking? In particular, I'm interested to hear, how much have you invested in yourself on self-development in the last year? Yeah, how much have you invested on yourself in terms of self-development? Curious about that, about those figures. Like, has anyone done any coaching programs or gone on any retreats? Were they good? Were they not? What did you get out of it? I'm especially interested to hear from someone who started to pay for something in installments, not having the actual money when they started, but then, going on, and whether you got it or not. Do you know what I mean? But I think that, when we look into like manifestation, and the first thing we need to look at is, if you have a poverty mindset, just forget it. Yeah, you're not going to go anywhere with money manifestation from that point of view. I mean, I don't even know if I can be bothered to talk to you. Yeah, nice, Joaquin, you're like me. Yeah, and let's get back. Sorry I stopped chatting to you earlier. I had new people I was onboarding and so much stuff going on, other clients I was supposed to talk to, because I have something to send you. Okay. Yeah, basically, yeah, tentacles, sound boss. Al, you invested in me. Sound boss, I love it. Yeah, it has been a mind blower, and I've climbed the first step on the stair. Yeah, I mean, you know, for people who look at like a coaching program, whether it be 10,000, 5,000, 3,000, whatever, and they're like, oh my God, like, you know, panicking about spending this money on themselves. And I do think a big degree of that comes out of this inner feeling of not being worthy. And when we have this inner feeling of not being worthy, it's, you know, yeah, we're not going to go anywhere until we face that. And this is, I'm talking about going out of your comfort zone and go into the zone where you just go like, oh my God, this is scaring me, you know. And when you do that place, what you're actually doing is you're increasing the capacity of your body to hold financial abundance, right? And when we're not increasing when we have, most people have, or a lot of people, they have a low ability to hold financial abundance. And the more that we work on ourselves, and also, I mean, I cannot say how much I think like having your own business of some sort is such a powerful, magical way to work with this kind of an energy as well. And when you're doing, you know, a soul-inspired, soul-led business from yourself, you know, with your self-development all kind of interlocked and so on in together, like, it's incredible, it's amazing, absolutely amazing what you can start doing with it. But yeah, I mean, I know you can go on YouTube and you can find a video going how to manifest 50 pounds. Okay, maybe it's going to work, maybe it's not. Well, then try to find the one how to manifest 5,000 pounds or 10,000 pounds or dollars or whatever currency you want to go in and be in, you know. But ultimately, you know, as I said in the blog the other day, you know, I've meditated with this so much. My solar plexus chakra is like a pot of gold now. You know, my other chakras are doing interesting things, which I didn't expect to have happening. But without, you know, without me going out and making a risk and going out and, you know, putting into myself, putting myself first, saying I am worthy, you know, because say if you found, you know, even what I was mentioning about that coach that I paid the 15,000 to, and I found that, and I found her, and I said, I am worthy, I deserve this, you know, and the universe heard me, and the universe gave me the money to get it. So yeah, I'm super interested if anybody has any questions here regarding this, about this. Do you want to type a question in the chat? Or shall we talk, right? So if you're watching this and you're practicing already manifestation, you've got your own business, perhaps you're also, let's say, you know, you take your own self-development seriously and you're kind of putting the time and money and so on into that, send me a DM, because I still have like one more of these masterclasses, financial abundance masterclasses I still want to give out, but I really want them to go to people who are actually in a place where they're like got the mindset of, yep, I'm going out there and I'm making my life. Yeah, I've had enough of playing it small. I want to be big. I want to play it big. I want to be me, shining my brilliance, not me all scared here thinking, oh, if I, you know, stand up and glow and be amazing, I'm going to get mud thrown at me, which you will, but it's fine. Yeah, you can just, the mud is actually really, really good for your skin. In fact, I was last night with mud all over my face. Yesterday I had put this mud all over my face, and I was talking to my boyfriend and he was like, oh, treatment, nice. And it was literally mud I took from close by. So don't be scared of the mud. Don't be scared of people flinging mud at you. And yeah. Okay. All right, guys. It's been great chatting. I cannot see any questions. Those on the replay, same thing. Any questions, type it in the chat or do DM me if this is a journey you're on. and sending out loads of love and light to everybody.